Well, welcome back, everybody. You know that I love doing podcasts in other people's houses. And today, we are in a special place. We are at NTT Data's Innovation Center here in Plano, Texas. Amazing things happen here. We're going to be talking about this in a few minutes. And, you know, if I were to name this podcast, it's related to Barry Shurkey, the CIO for NTT Data North America. It would be Everybody Loves Barry. If this was a TV show, that's what I would call it, because this is a story of, it's not a comedy actually, it's a story of delivering big results and doing it in a way that people still want to be with you on the journey. They just love this guy. And so, Barry, welcome. So good to be with you.
Thanks, Dan, and appreciate having Tech Whispers here in our house. Couldn't be more excited about spending some time with you. And at the Innovation Center, it's just great to have you here.
Yeah, you bring people from all the world here, right? That come, and what happens here?
Well, it's and you've been in here. You've been in the Immersion Center, and there's different spots within the Innovation Center that just allows the creative juices to just flow. It's run by Mary Leos and Ben Irvin, who you also met. He's the technologist behind it. And it just allows everybody, whether it's clients or, you're bringing in different types of students like we're going to have in the next couple of days, to just brainstorm and bring creative solutions to high-tech problems.
Yeah, I was just being in there, you just start to think different. Like if you're in the healthcare space, like the patient experience, if you're in sports and entertainment, like the fan experience. So it's pretty inspiring. But you mentioned we are here the next 2 days. Thank you for hosting our Exec LX
Absolutely.
Leadership Program and 9-month program. We've got some of your folks in there. You're known for being really big on developing your people. You're all about preparing future-ready leaders. So talk about that, why that's so important to you.
It's important to me because it's important to them. And besides the fact that it's a win-win situation, win-win because, when they're successful, you're successful. But it's also, you're building their careers, you're building their lives. And it's so important that you're able to take pride in their accomplishments, right? And, I've been in the IT industry now for, I hate to say it, over 35 years, but it all comes back in spades, right? Because the ability to build future leaders also builds your network, right? It's amazing over the past 35 years, the leaders that I've been able to develop all stay around, right? And they're part of your network for your life. And the fact that you're investing in them, over 30 years ago, they're still friends today, still friends that you call on. So when I say win-win, it's good for them, it's good for you, it's good for your company, right? And again, like I said, I just take a lot of pride when I see another person being successful, being another CIO. I mean, I get tingles. I get tingles thinking about it right now, just that so many of the people that I've had an opportunity to work with have been successful.
It's interesting. It just dawned on me, your facilities are based on legacy drive. How perfect. I mean, this legacy that you're leaving behind. And, the last podcast we launched was with Ken Spangler and Steve Davis, looking at adaptability quotient. We talked a lot about AQ.
Yeah.
And I want to get you talking about EQ because you're a big EQ guy. Our profession is not maybe known for it but talk about that. Is that a muscle we can build? How do you foster in people? And then what's the results when you get people with strong EQ?
Yeah, I think, and I call it emotional intelligence, but it is something that I think, and I call it a superpower, mm-hmm. right? Because if you're in the IT industry and you have an emotional intelligence and you're able to lead and provide that emotional intelligence to your team, you're able to get them all in the same direction, right? So if you're able to feel the organization vibe and being able to take them in the same direction, and within, North America, we have almost 50,000 employees, but within the IT organization, we have just over 500 people. And if you can set that direction and set those objectives and feel the organization's way, you have the ability to emotionally take them there. And if they feel that you are going that direction with them, that's the emotional intelligence that you have. and building that emotional intelligence, it takes time, takes effort, and I'll tell you, it takes sincerity, right? Because if you try to fake it, employees will see right through it, right? So you have to be all in. And I'm telling you, if you do leadership right, it will literally suck the life out of you, right? So if you don't go home tired emotionally every day from work, you haven't done your job, right? Because you have to be an all in to be a leader. And to me, it's a choice, right? To be a leader, it's an opportunity. I don't ever take being a leader for granted, right? It is something that they've given me, and I just want to do the best job I can every day.
You've accomplished that and more, Barry. And you've worked in your career in some amazing brands. You've worked across different industries, geographies. I want to talk about some of your early days, and I want to talk about it in terms of your experience in the publishing business and the hospitality industry. Your first two jobs. Do you know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think you're talking about me delivering the Detroit News at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then my experience as a dishwasher.
That's the hospitality industry right there, right? In the publishing business.
Oh my goodness. Well, those were definitely, my dad always had a lesson in life for me, right? So if I wanted anything, I had to work for it. So, and growing up just outside of Detroit, Michigan, I got a newspaper route, and it snowed, and the paper still had to be delivered on Sunday morning. So I was out there on my bike delivering newspapers. And then when I was old enough, I was 14. I worked as a dishwasher for 3 years, and
you got a real job.
Yeah, well, it was, and I can still remember $1.90 an hour.
Wow.
But at 14, I had to get that job because I met my girlfriend, wife at the time, right? So we had to go to the movies. So ended up having to work that. But, it creates drive. It creates a work ethic to be able to do anything at that time.
Yeah, we look back on those experiences, and they're hard, and it's a grind. We were happy to have them, right? And what we took away from that. So from there, the career journey is just a nice straight line, right?
I don't know who you've been talking to, but no, well, it was, but I went to, after I graduated from Central Michigan University, I got a degree in MIS and a minor in computer science. I worked for EDS for 26 years, but EDS allowed me to do so many different things. It wasn't a straight line by any means. I think I did every job you can possibly do in IT, whether it was being a developer to being a team leader to, I even did a little bit of HR for an SBU president to project management. But you name it, and I kind of did it. But I think it really provided me the insight as I got up into the leadership to sit around the table, survey the table with all the people that make up project teams and the world of IT, and to be able to empathize with everyone around the table and help them along their journey, right? So to be able to help lead by being in all those different type of roles, I think has helped me a long way.
We talked, I've never heard anybody speak poorly of EDS. It's always been a great experience, and just the people, the caliber of people, right? And we were talking about Charlie Feld.
Yeah, geez, he took me underneath his wing, and as well as everybody back in those EDS days, and just the coaching and the mentoring and his ability to not only go to a board and tell a story, but based on his previous experiences, was just changed everybody's life, not just mine, but he continues to change people's lives because talking about, and we talked about investing in people. He's invested in so many people that have come full circle for him. And I'm one of those people that, it was one of those full circle people for him.
Love to see that Charlie Feld chart of all those people that have
become wouldn't it be,
executives because
they should have like It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes, that's right.
Have Charlie go back in time.
I might do that.
Yeah.
I might take that on. As we look back in our careers, Barry, we all love the successes, right? But those pivotal moments, I think, tend to be the failures. So I want to see if I can maybe put you on the spot here. If you can.
How much time we have?
Well, we've got some time. Whatever you
If
need.
you're not failing, you're not growing, right?
Yeah. But maybe talk about that, because I think that's where the learning happens. That's where the growth happens. And so, is there a story of failure that really jumps out at you?
Well, a couple. I would say a personal one first for me. God, I was in my, I would say, mid-30s, and just before I was going to do an expat assignment in Australia, and my career was going well, and it just seemed like everything was just kind of taking off, and just about to go to Australia, and um, yeah, it just seemed I had a couple days to slow down, and I was talking with my son at the time and he was, I think he had just turned 4, and we were sitting down. I was just starting to relax again. He was he poured a cereal, and I go, "Hey, you want pour your milk?" He goes, "Oh no, I don't want to spill it." And I go, "Well, you got to take chances, buddy. You got to pour the milk on." He goes, "Well, if I if I if I if I spill the milk, are you going to yell at me?" And I go, "Oh my goodness, what kind of father am I? Right? That he's going to think I'm going to yell at him." And then I kind of did a reflection right at that point that said, "Oh man, I'm moving too fast. I'm not spending enough time with them." And it was so true. It was just a great reflection moment where I had lost all priorities. I wasn't being a good, family man. I wasn't being a good dad. It was all that kind of stuff because, it's just focused on career, right? So, um, so I just did a lot of self-reflection, and it was great timing. God presents different opportunities at different times for you. And it was great that we went off to Australia because it was just the 3 of us working on the Commonwealth Bank of Australia deal. But, and I remembered, and I keep this right in front of me, there's a great book, I Am Third by Gail Sayers. And he talks, God is first, others are second, and I am third. And from that point on, I keep that right in front of me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to remind myself still, when I'm traveling too much or not getting focused, because I get that a lot in mentoring sessions. How do you prioritize? And you have to step back sometimes and really focus on that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Is there a corporate leadership story you can think of, a failure?
Yeah. So I'll get to that. Yeah. We were doing some new development within the airline industry, and I think the hardest thing in IT is new development. I don't know about you and your experiences, but doing any type of large-scale development and doing it agile and trying to make it work is just tough. And we were in the midst of it and developing a new airline product. And I thought it was doing well, and then had a couple of failures, but I was keeping it to myself. And that's so unlike me because I was doing really good, but I wasn't sharing the results. And I had a great support system in the airline industry, and I had good sponsorship, which is always great, but I didn't share it. And when it finally did blow up and we had to, reset, everybody was around me that just said, why are you trying to do it? And I kept thinking I could fix it myself. So the lesson learned is, you got to share ugly news early. But the other one is, if you're doing your job right, you have a lot of friends in allies, right? And I should have brought them in earlier, should have asked for help earlier. So no, I don't have a problem with that and communicating results and bringing in other sponsors to help me.
Larry Quinlan, we had on the podcast some time ago.
Great guy,
right? And he said there's 3 ways to climb the ladder. One is, there's that person who gets there by pushing other people off as they climb, right? And there are those people. There are those people that get there just through their own ability, brute force, and they get there. But when those folks trip and fall, which we all do, there's really no one there to pick them up or to push them back. Then there's that third person, which is they lift as they climb, which you're giving this example, but I know this is how you lead because I know your people. And as you lift when you climb, when you stubble your toe, they're going to help you get back up and keep going up that ladder. So how about the flip side of it? Probably more difficult for you, but one of those big successes, Barry, and the learnings from that probably something that looked bigger than you could even accomplish, right? But any stories there and learnings from one of those?
Yeah, I think it was 7 years ago, probably Dell Services integration, and probably the biggest M&A at that time. And we were, I think, 20,000 people at that time, and we're bringing in 30,000 people over 100 IT projects. I think it was 9 data centers. It was just 54 facilities, re-imaging 30,000 laptops. Just huge, right? So,
Yeah.
but again, it gets back to business sponsorship that we had, plan the plan over and over again, and just working together as a team with the business, right? You'll find that I don't do anything without the business right alongside me, and I've got some great partners in finance with the Scott McDonald and HR with Vicky Furnish and stuff like that. But moving together as a team, it was just a really, really good journey, and we learned so much from that. We documented that one and developed the playbook, and have since done 13 other M&As since that time, and have been very successful for it. And now the team's going for a patent on the from what they've learned, and we're really excited about it because it's kind of game changing. We have done, I think, just an amazing job of just getting really good at that in the industry, and I think the patent will come out, and we're unbelievably excited.
Absolutely.
And I think it's also because in the 7 years, we keep a really simple reference architecture in our back office systems, and we are constantly in an application and infrastructure rationalization mode.
Well, I've got a quote from someone, not a mystery question, but a quote from someone. Tell us who Bob Pryor is.
Well, during DSI, he was the COO, and then I think it was a couple of years after that, he became our CEO.
Yeah.
Just a terrific sponsor. I can remember when he asked me to be CIO, and I just kind of looked behind me, and I go, "You're looking at me, right?" So,
That's
just
good.
a terrific guy. Just retired. Yep.
Yeah. Well, here's something that Bob had to say about that project at that time. So this was a big deal in the history of the company. And so Bob said, "I truly value Barry's professionalism, positive energy, continued pursuit of innovation, and unwavering commitment to operational excellence. Not only does he instill a great passion and pride in the teams he leads and supports, but Barry also manages to operate every day with calmness, humility, and perseverance." And he goes on many other accolades. That's pretty special, the proof's in the pudding. Talk about that calmness. That calmness is when you're in the heat of the battle, people can take their cues off their leader, right? And when you're all excited and just jacked up, it creates a lot of anxiety, right? But some leaders have that ability to stay calm. How do you do that?
Well, I think you just kind of answered it, is that your people feed off of your emotions, right? And that's why I back to that thing, I try to stay positive and look at every situation as an opportunity. And if you show that you're worried, you're scared, or you're going to show that emotion and berate people or do any of those type of negative things, they will quickly go negative with you, right? And that's kind of like that emotional intelligence that we keep going back to, is that that emotional intelligence, that superpower can be used for evil too, right? So just you have to be very attuned to it. Because I have some bad days too. And it's amazing when you walk the halls and, if you just came out of a meeting and you're, just got that face, people go, "What's wrong?" Right. So as soon as you, change that mode, it's interesting how people will feed off that.
So good.
It's like I said, you've got to turn that on every time. People are counting on you. And again, back to that leadership as an opportunity.
Well, we've got some really fun mystery questioners.
Right.
And
I've seen this on YouTube, man. This is
some
great.
very enthusiastic mystery questioners. And I'll tell you what, there's one I tried to get, it just wasn't working out. And everyone said, "Don't do it." Your granddaughter Sloan.
The joy of my life.
You would have just started bawling. So
I probably will anyway.
Good idea. But let's tune up this first one, and you're gonna know her voice right away.
Okay.
So let's have some fun with this.
Hi, Barry. I know one of the most influential people in your life is your dad. Being one of the humblest and kindest executives that I know, can you talk a little bit about how you were rooted in excellence from your dad and how that plays into your leadership role today?
So who was that, Barry?
That was Lori Schisler. I love talking about my dad. obviously he instilled a great work ethic in me. And it was an interesting story. My dad's ex-Marine, went to college on a GI Bill, got a teaching degree in math, but he also got a minor in psychology and Spanish. So it was really interesting growing up in my house. But the great story about my dad was that Ford Motor Company came into all the schools in the early 60s, and he was trained as a programmer.
No kidding.
So he was one of the first programmers out there in the industry. So when I was probably 6 or 7, he would take me into work, and I would punch cards for him. So, but he had to be so much more as a programmer in there, because after I punched the cards for him, we'd go right into the data center and he would load his own tapes, right? So you had to know everything about the business when you were that age. And he's just a wonderful man. But I would also tell you that my EI comes from my mom. I got my mom's heart, right? So, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, but it was a nice 1-2 punch between mom and dad. Love them to death.
Special combination there.
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
I wish I had met them. So Lori, thank you, Lori.
Yeah,
so
thanks, Lori.
Tell us about Lori.
Yeah, Lori has been a part of my life back at EDS and then here at NTT Data. She's just a terrific HR business partner. As an HR business partner, can see through Barry, right? And actually, a personal thing about her, made me go away and get hearing aids. So when I was struggling and was worried about how would I be perceived with a hearing impairment, she made the call and helped me go get hearing aids.
Wow.
So,
that's a good friend right there.
Just a good friend.
Yeah.
Worked me through it. Yeah, that's Lori.
Special people. Thank you, Lori. We do some pretty crazy research here for the podcast, and you're going to get a little sense of that. So you have a pocket watch from your dad.
Yeah.
Tell us what's engraved and what that means.
Yeah, you did do some research. I got it from my dad, and again, back to his work ethic. It didn't matter what I was doing when I was growing up or even in the workplace. It was a pocket watch from my grandpa. My grandpa was a Detroit policeman for over 30 years, so he probably wore that on the beat. But it said, "Be the best you can be." So my dad truly believed that if you were going to go out there, and whether it was sports, whether it was work, or anything that you could do, you would rise above everybody if you could do more.
Yeah.
And I took that to heart. One of the things I think I get from people that ask me all the time, what were some of the secrets of your success, Barry? And it was, I always did my job, and then I would look for opportunities for additional assignments or an assignment nobody wanted to take, especially when I was a frontline supervisor or trying to make it as a manager was, what's something that nobody wants to do that I can shine or take on? But again, then I'd always balance that against I am third type principles too. But it is, you have to look for an opportunity to have visibility from other leaderships in your network. And that was one of them, is be the best you can be.
Such good teaching, good reminder for all of us, right? To do that and look for those other opportunities. In today's world, it's going so fast. There's so many opportunities, right? And so,
well, we still all haven't come back to work,
right?
So it gets harder to, before, for me, it was easy to take that and then walk around the building and show everybody the projects. It's a little harder on camera these days, right?
Yeah.
To get that visibility.
That's a good point. And I'll just make a comment, Barry, for those who don't know what punch cards are, go look up Wikipedia because part of our heritage in our industry, an important part. So Barry, we've got 4 rapid fire mystery questioners for you.
Right.
So we're going to have some fun with these. People who know you inside and out have your superpowers right there. So listen to this next one.
Hi, this question's for Barry. I'm curious, what would you say your personal leadership superpowers are? Which ones or which skills or talents or traits would you say have made you successful?
Thanks, Bob, for the question. Gal, I would say the emotional intelligence, the ability to take risk or chance on assignments, treating everyone as an individual, I think is unbelievably important. treating everybody as a team just seems to not work.
Mm,
One solution doesn't fit all in a people.
yeah.
Definitely doesn't. I think Bob and I go back, golly, he was an EDSer back, and I met him in year 2000. And him and I had a best friend that we helped through cancer. And so we developed just a special relationship with each other as we helped a friend through that who didn't make it. Brad Beebe, God bless you, I love you to death. But you build those relationships at work, and then you become personal friends. And Bob is one of the good ones, and he's another leader like that will lead with his heart. And back to investing in people and having that person. Bob's made, I'll say it, 3 tours. He's a decorated veteran, but he was with me at EDS. He went to where I was I was a CIO at a small BPO firm, came with me, and then he came with me at NTT Data down at TxDOT, and now up here in Plano. So when you have those relationships and people that you trust like that, like Bob, I don't have a superpower. I have friends like Bob, right? That are if you're committed to Bob, Bob's committed to you, right? And that's, I don't know if that's a superpower. That's just being a good person.
Yeah, I want to unpack that a little bit, Barry. I mean, I think it was Roosevelt who said, people don't care what you know until they know you care, right?
Yeah, yeah, you said, well, you're a lot smarter than I am, but
Well,
that's a great way of saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those one-on-one relationships, right? You're not leading teams, you're leading individuals, right? And so I guess to do that, it takes, what does it take? You gotta listen, you gotta know them, you gotta be curious, you gotta be interested, I imagine, right? The things that you do to...
Man, that's one of the things, you said the key word to me, listen. That's one of the skills that I've tried to really get better at as I got older, because I interrupt too much when I should be listening. And I think that's another one of those traits that I continue to try to get better at each and every day.
Maybe our wives wouldn't agree, but we're working on it, right, Barry?
Well, I tell you what, I still try to solve everything.
Yes,
and they don't want me to solve it. She just wants me to listen.
Right, that's right.
Darn.
Yeah, I fall in that same trap.
Yeah.
Well, we've got another, thank you, Bob Doherty, another great questioner coming up here. So let's listen in.
Barry, you once described your leadership style as like President Reagan's. For the benefit of those not as familiar with Reagan's style, can you describe it for us? Thank you.
Tom Levesque was my old chief technology officer before he retired. Just one of the smartest individuals that you meet. He came back for the Dell Services integration. We pulled him out of retirement a couple times.
Wow.
But just super smart. And we still go to, I think it's been a couple of years now, we still go to lunch once a month. He rubs it in my face about retirement and how great it is.
Yeah. Good for him.
But let me tell you, because it's one of my favorite sayings by Reagan, who had a lot of great quotes. But he said, surround yourself with the best people, delegate to them, and then unless they deviate from policy, which I would say your objectives and vision, leave them alone. And it is absolutely the truth. When I come into a new job or go off and do different things, when I have to build my team, I absolutely surround myself with the best people around me. I mean, I am so comfortable with the team that I have, whether it's, Blake Schultz for SAP, Derek Smith for collaboration. I mean, I could list off all my team, Madhu for operations and keeping the ship running. I mean, I have the right person in every job. And, if something goes wrong in one of the areas, I have to dive down into a little bit, and I don't mind getting my hands dirty. But one of the great things that I get back on the feedback of my performance reviews when we do 360s is each one of them will say, he lets me run my business, right? So I don't micromanage them at all. I still have my one-on-ones with them. I give them feedback on what I see. All those, we all crave feedback, but I let them run their business, right? And people say, well, how do you get everything done Well, I have great people that around me that know how to do their job and let them do their job, right? And I just absolutely believe in that idea and concept that you've hired them, well, let them go do their job.
Yeah, you trust them, they trust you, and it's not lost on me. In your introduction, you talked about the company's 50,000 people,
Right. 40 countries.
40 countries, a lot of complexity, a lot of M&A.
Yeah.
500 people in IT. That's you got some force multiplication going on there, because that's.
But if I have the right people in the right job and they're all just firing away,
Amazing.
yeah, it's I get to be a CIO.
Right. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Tom, for coming out of retirement for a few minutes and helping us out here. And
he still does a little coaching and developing at everyone those monthly luncheons. So
he's excited to participate. Trust me, he was glad to do it. So, a couple more questions for you. So let's listen into to this next one.
Using your superpower of X-ray vision, give us a glimpse into the future of the CIO office, key messages, and what do leaders need to focus on now to prepare?
Yeah, good one. Who's that?
That's Meredith Vance. So she's our treasurer. So,
okay.
Yeah. So she's the money lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very nice.
Incredibly talented. I mean, she's the real deal.
Yep. Won a couple of awards, and besides that, just a great person too. I would say, it's interesting. I think the future, and you have a lot of smart people on these tech whispers that could give you probably a better answer than me. But one of the things I would say with AI coming, don't get lazy. I had a generative AI rewrite a thank you note for me, and it wasn't me, right? And I think with all those tools and capabilities and stuff like that, it is important that we don't lose our voice, right? Because after I said, no, I'm not going to use that, I sent out the personal thank you, right? Which is so important in emotional intelligence and remembering to thank everybody. But the generative AI sent out something very professional, very nice, but it didn't have my ... at the end and my bad grammar. They would have saw right through that, right? So
absolutely.
I think, don't get lazy and depend on those tools when you're going fast, right? Take the 2 seconds. And, this employee shared with me that, they actually framed just a simple thank you, right? And put it next to their desk. So I think the future is don't get lazy.
I actually will try using ChatGPT for my podcast to create the podcast. And I'll say, create questions for Barry, blah, blah, blah. I would say I've gotten maybe 200 questions. I maybe have used one of them for all the podcasts I've done, because they're not me. They're not
exactly.
They're generic. They're not really personal. They're not special. And so I'm like, oh, well, all right, it's not there yet.
Yep,
not there yet. Well, we've got one more mystery question for you. Actually, yeah, two more, and you'll know who this is. Probably one of the most positive, optimistic, amazing people that we both know and love dearly. So listen on this one.
Barry's genuine kindness and dedication make him a beacon of positivity and impact in his professional and personal spheres. I'm so honored to have met Barry in his career and in my own journey. Can you share some examples of how you've mentored and supported emerging leaders, particularly women and underrepresented individuals in their career development?
So you know who this is?
Yeah, this is Lourdes. She's awfully special. She's been with us in the Dallas community with the CIOs. Since I'd been a CIO, so 7 years. She has nurtured those relationships with the CIO. Very well respected. She's now went on to, unfortunately, with the CISOs. So I have a long conversation about that one. But she with all the egos in the room with the CIOs, she can get through it.
Yeah.
So she introduced me to a lot of dear friends in this area, and the Dallas CIOs it's just a great community. But to her question, I have a passion and about making technology and women in technology a better place for them. We've made some strides, but we are still far away from what we need to do for them. We still only have 20% of women in leadership roles. I think 5 out of 10 women by the age of 35 drop out of technology roles. Less than 30% of technologists are women. And don't even go there with salaries, right? They're still not on par. So, I mean, as I finish up my career here, I've been associated with a nonprofit called DFW Alliance Technology and Women. Had been on that board, I think, for at least 5 years, chaired it for a couple of years. They do amazing things in the DFW area. But so every chance I get, I'm mentoring at least 4 women right now in the area, trying to help wherever I can, let alone a couple of women inside of NTT Data. But we've got to make that investment. We've got to help out not only the women, but girls in STEM programs, make investments there so they don't give up on science, STEM-related programs, because they get tricked, fooled, whatever you want, of getting out of those programs. And we've got to show them that we care.
Got to be intentional, right? It doesn't happen by accident. And I know there's just a big event here over the weekend.
It's our Executive Leadership Forum put it on by them. Unfortunately, I missed this year because I was out in San Francisco. But just a terrific program.
Good stuff. Well, thank you, Lourdes. And tell us who Chris Moser is.
Chris Moser is my leader at NTT Data. She's my executive assistant and makes everything happen every day for me, makes me more productive every day. And like my wife, can read my mind. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Chris Moser.
Yeah, she's special. We talked about how she and Tracy, for me, are force multipliers, right?
Yeah.
And Chris read the run of show. And she said, make sure Barry talks about all the things he does for women. And so Lourdes teed that up, but look, Chris appreciates that.
Oh, yeah.
From how you're intentional about that.
Yeah, thank you. And it's important.
Yeah. We do this fun thing here, right, with the scholarship, Tech for Good. Yep. And I have a sense of where this is going to go. But for those who are just tuning in, we donate over $100,000 a year in scholarships to our Tech LX.
Awesome.
Which is the little brother, little sister program to what you're hosting for us the next couple of days. So it's more manager level, and you have a chance to gift a seat in that 9-month leadership program to one of your STEM nonprofits that you're very involved in. So anybody come to mind there?
Yeah, DFW Alliance of Technology and Women. Thank you so much. They're going to be so excited. And, one of the programs they run is for women looking to reskill that have had some type of hardship in their life, whether it's a cloud-based program, PM, agile type methodologies or anything like that. So thank you so much. They're going to love it.
Yeah. Well, the next 2 days, Fern Johnson's going to be here.
Yep, she's an advocate of the program too.
I think you're both on the advisory board.
Yeah.
So she's going to be on our CIO Fireside Chat. She's former CTO for PepsiCo, right? And Janet Robertson was the keynote speaker the other night.
Yeah.
So
you got them all coming out.
Small world. But thank you for that plug for that organization, the good work they do. And I think it's a model that, I know it's for the DFW region, right? Yep. So which is pretty far reaching, but what a great model for others to learn from.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks for all the good work you do there.
Oh, thanks. Yep.
Well, Barry, I think we're kind of coming to the end of our time here. Covered a lot of ground. I've got more questions for you though. And so if you don't mind, we're going to kind of dig in and we're going to do an article on CIO.com that'll come out and get launched later.
Okay.
A week later. But I'm going to leave it here for now. But thanks for having us. Thanks for your team for hosting us. Mo and Eric, and we had Jane and Mary and Ben. It was a team effort here to make this happen.
Thanks. We have a great team at NTT Data. So appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Thanks, Barry.
Yep.
All right.
You've been listening to Tech Whisperers, inside the playbook of the best digital leaders, a Woolette and Associates podcast. Keep connected with us by subscribing to the show in your favorite podcast player. If you like what you've heard, please rate the show, as this helps us connect the world's best digital leaders with those who aspire to learn, grow, and thrive in this amazing profession. Thanks for listening. Until next time.